And hello, everybody. Welcome to our weekly Ask Me Anything here at dottotech. Steve Dotto here. If you are new to us, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are not new to us, welcome back. Dottotech, the channel here, is really dedicated to helping you get more out of your technology. We've got a variety of different videos that we post on a weekly basis, a lot of productivity videos. We concentrate a little bit on online marketing, screencasting video, online video, that sort of stuff, and a lot on webinars. And then I do a weekly vlog, which we'll post tomorrow, where we talk about my generation being a baby boomer and living a digital life, being in the digital world, in the online, being a baby boomer in the digital world. So the rules today, what we're going to be doing is, this is an Ask Me Anything. So I look forward to your comments, your questions. We discuss kind of the news of the week, what's happening. Often we get into dive into this productivity space, or maybe a little bit into YouTube and community building and growing a YouTube channel. Whatever topics are top of mind for you, let me know where you're coming in from so I can say hi. I see Robert there from Columbus. How are you doing, Robert? And Katie is there. Hello, Katie. Jamal, who just moved to the USA 6 months ago, master's degree in computer science. I need my advice. I do not have my certificate. Well, just a diploma. We'll certainly talk about that if we can. I'm not really an expert on job placement and that sort of stuff, but happy to help where we can. David from Indianapolis. How are you doing, David? And Melanie, how are you? I'm saying hello to you, ma'am. From one Steve to another, Steve Howe 8. Nice to see you as well. Dropping in from Bangkok. Integral Doc. Wow, coming in from Bangkok. Good to see you here. Thanks for joining us. So it's been an interesting week for me. I woke up on Monday morning early for some reason, and I checked my phone, which is always a bad idea. And I saw one of the most disturbing things that I've seen in my feed in a while, and it's what caused me to decide what we're going to be doing next week on Webinar Wednesday. A good friend of mine, some of you might know him if you follow the social media marketing world, Brian Kramer. He does H to H stuff, human to human, as opposed to B2C. He teaches the philosophy of human connections most important. Brian's visiting the UK, and he was there with his wife, who is also well known to us. Courtney joins him at all of the social media marketing events that we do and that sort of stuff. And his son, and they were in a pub. His son had left. He was with friends. Somebody walked up and asked them, "Are you American?" And they are. They're from the States. And they answered yes. The guy picked up a beer and poured it over Courtney's head. Boom. Brian stood up to confront him, didn't even have time, and he got jumped by 5 guys. And at any rate, he's fine. They're fine. They're shaken. They don't blame the UK. They blame the social situation that's going on and a bunch of drunk jackasses, frankly. But I was on the horns of a dilemma of planning for next week's Webinar Wednesday, this coming week. And I wanted to do a webinar on dealing with fake news, our challenge that we deal with in fake news. But I realize it's politically sensitive and it's going to be a difficult story to navigate without ruffling a few feathers. But here, a good friend, and Brian is a salty guy. I defy anybody to meet him, talk with him for 5 minutes, and not really be fond of this guy. His heart and soul is in the right place. He's just one of the really good people. Seeing that happen, and so much of what is happening in this space now, in the world right now, is coming from this fake news. It's coming from fake news dividing us. And there's lots of different philosophies on how to deal with it. And I just, at that point there, it was in my list. I was trying to decide between 3 different webinar topics. It was like, we got to take this on. So if you're not doing anything on Wednesday, make sure that you join us. Here, I'll drop a link in. Make sure you join us for Webinar Wednesday. It's top of mind. The reason that I led with it today here on the Ask Me Anything is not because I want to make this topic today about that, but because I've been writing and working on the webinar content. So it was just total top of mind. So I had to clear it from my brain before we could get into things. So what the heck is going on? Let's take a look and see what questions you have and comments. And there's Stephen from London. Hello. Dick from Charleston. How are you doing? Richard from Lakelands. Okay. So let me know the question. Steve SE9 says, why are your webinar emails going to my spam folder? Oh, you commented on this earlier. I've added the address to contact, but it makes no difference. Here's what I think might be happening, Steve, is on Webinar Wednesday, Mail delivery is a big issue for anybody that's in online marketing. Making sure that our emails don't go into your spam folder, but go into your trusted email folders. That's a big deal for us. But we use actually, why would yours be going in now? That's a good question, because if it's notification of our webinar, see, sometimes we send out notification or we register people in webinars through the webinar platform we have. So so there's several stages. Our newsletter goes out. I'll get you to comment, Stephen. Are you getting our newsletter in your normal inbox? And is it your webinar confirmation forms that are going into your spam folder? That's what I suspect is happening. So let me talk it through. Our normal newsletter goes through our email server, which is, in our case, Infusionsoft. Now, one of the challenges with all of these email services that we use is it goes from their servers, and so there's a lot of people that send a lot of bulk email out of these sort of servers. And even though you've opted in, there's large volumes of mail that goes out. So it can be identified quite easily as promotional materials or possibly even spam. So if there's somebody else in the Infusionsoft family, somebody else that's using the same tool as us that are indeed sending a lot of spam, now Infusionsoft will try and shut them down very quickly, but in the meantime, all of us get painted with the same brush of those people that are sending out emails. So deliverability is one of the things that MailChimp, Infusionsoft, Entreport, they all really concentrate on making sure that they keep it as clean as possible. So if that email is going into your spam folder, that's always consistently coming from the same email address and you've whitelisted it, there's a technical problem that I don't necessarily understand that you're having there. But if you've whitelisted that address, then you register for our webinar and then you get the webinar confirmation and that goes in your spam folder. That is an entirely different problem because we use different webinar services to run our webinars. And here at dottotech, we test out different services. We use Webinar Jam. We've used Zoom in the past. We were using Crowdcast for a while this year because we like to test these tools so that I can then teach you which ones work best for different types of webinars that you want to deliver. And right now, we've moved to Demio as our delivery mechanism for the next 3 webinars coming up. We did it last week, and we're going to be doing it for the next 3 coming up, including next week's. So if that email has gone into your spam folder, that's because the response after you register comes from Demio servers because it's mixed in there. It's kind of their process of they register you and then they send the confirmation and all of the links out. So it's, even though it'll quite often say the same email address, it's actually coming from a different email address. That's the thing that'll drive us all a little bit crazy about the world of email. So that's what I suspect is happening. And I'm going to have to search through here to see if I can find your comment. I see you haven't commented back. Okay, but that's what I suspect is happening there. So that's why, is because it's Demio's email that is being identified as spam, even though it looks like it's coming from our email address. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's go in through. Réjean from Quebec. Bonjour, Réjean. Comment ça va? Okay, Star Lucas from Venice Beach, California. How are you doing? Checking in from Northern Ireland is Robbie Snotty. And Melanie from the Villages in Florida. How the heck are you doing? Am I using Google Home Assistant? If so, any tips? From Irvin. I do have the Google, and you can see it right there over top of Farley. I do use Google Home. We've been using it for a while in the house. We've got a video on it on our channel. I like it quite a bit. I just bought in this last Amazon Prime Day an Alexa, and it's in the box, and I'm about to unbox it. I'm about to start using it and try that out and compare the two. I use Google Home every day. We use it primarily as a music service. It's just, we ask it to play different songs, the playlists by artists, etc. And it's always being used that way primarily. We use it a fair bit to settle arguments about which actor or different things like that. So it's become it's sitting there, and it's definitely a part of the fabric now of our day-to-day lives, but primarily as a music service more than anything else. With the Alexa that I purchased, I just bought the small one, but it came in a package with the Philips Hue light bulb set, a color light bulb set, and I am going to be replacing the chandelier light that I have here. It's not turned on now. I'm going to be replacing that light with a bar that has these 2 Philips Hue lights, and I'm going to be painting one on this wall there, right behind me there, and another one on the wall beside me here for another angle, and I'm going to be able to tune the color of the wash on the wall to make my set here look a little more interesting. So that's going to be an interesting project to undertake, and we're doing that over the next couple of weeks. That's the last pieces of kind of putting this living set together with my office and using it for backdrop for live and some of our videos as well. So that's going to be an interesting process. Are you guys using Google Home? We had a great conversation about it last night. I went to my best friend's house for dinner. We're sitting there talking away, and I told him I bought the Alexa, and he started to go off on me about it. He doesn't believe in having any of these devices in his house at all. He protects his privacy far more aggressively than do I. And we had a good conversation about, is privacy a right or a currency? Is it something that we're willing to spend? And I think your privacy is a currency. I think it used to be a right, but I think it's become a currency that we spend now. And we determine what benefit we get for sharing parts of ourselves. And I mean, somebody like myself who does, I bring you into my home every day on my videos. Obviously, my threshold for privacy is a lot less, and I'm willing to use that equity of my privacy for my business needs, right? To generate community and ultimately revenue. But Dan, my buddy, was no, he doesn't believe in it at all. So I'd love to hear anybody that's using Google Home or Alexa. If you've compared the two, what do you think of them? And also, are you just still not there in trusting? And I 100% get if you're not there in the whole trusting process. Good day, land, sea. Okay, let me see. It is a beautiful day in the valley. It's a beautiful day here in Vancouver too. It's just been we've had gorgeous weather the last couple of weeks. DJW 1500. Have you done review of programs that allow you to text from your computer and text it to many people at a time using AirDroid, Join, Mighty Text, etc.? Not sure how to evaluate. Thank you, from Ohio. No, I haven't. And here's the problem that I have using any of those texting programs on your computer. Other than Apple's Messenger works, but that's just kind of, it's within the Apple operating system. But there's no texting program that allows me to bulk text to people from my computer, because in Canada, it's harder to gain access to those services. And so I haven't used them. But they concern me from a spam point of view, obviously, since they're used for promotional purposes. My CRM, Infusionsoft, does have a text notification service that you can build in. So what we were talking about earlier, when people register for a webinar, you can text them last minute and let them know that the webinar is about to start to encourage a higher engagement rate. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't like getting reminder text. I mean, I like getting reminder text from people like my dentist that I have an appointment coming up. Those sorts of real, what do they call it? IRL, in real life things. I don't necessarily like getting texts reminding me of online obligations that I have, unless it's I put a meeting in or something like that. So I haven't tested any of them out, but if you've used any of them, I'd love to hear which ones you like and how you feel your customers or your community responds. Using it from a personal standpoint versus using it from a business standpoint, I think it's a pretty big difference between the two, obviously. So I wish I knew more about it, but don't. Okay, Woody, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Do you send out your AMA notices via Patreon? Woody, I haven't done it. As a matter of fact, I was sitting down this morning, and as I was just getting ready to go, I was saying, I should let the Patreon community know, and I should figure a mechanism. I don't want to spam my Patreon community by letting them know every day everything that we're doing. But I think I should send out a notice saying, hey, we do this, and let them know that we do it on maybe do it every week for a couple of weeks, or once a month, send out notice of these are the things you can do. But that's a good idea. And I was just thinking about that. I'm glad you brought it up. It entrenches to me that I should come up with a strategy for dealing with that properly. By the way, for those of you who don't know, the Patreon community we're talking about, the channel here, dottotech, is supported and funded in large part through crowdfunding. We use Patreon, which is crowdfunding for content creators. And we've got nearly 800 people who support dottotech, and they get some perks in return for giving us some revenue that helps us produce this content on a weekly basis. Primarily our webinar Wednesdays, our tutorial webinars that we do each week. So our patrons get access to all of our archives. This will be our 64th webinar this coming up week. So they get access to all those, as well as half price on all of our online courses and a few other perks. But if you're interested, you can stop by patreon.com/dottotech. And you can take a look. Always thrilled. And any patrons that are here, if you are a patron, just let me know here in the chat. But I want to send a big thanks to all of you. I appreciate your support so very, very much. All right. Okay. Michael, mealtime. Michael here again. Not sure what you mean about making money on YouTube going evergreen. What is the mini course? I must be missing something. Okay, Michael was asking right off the top as we were starting today about last week we did a webinar where I did a tutorial on, or a training on how to make money on YouTube. We looked at 7 aspects of earning money on YouTube, 7 ways to make money on YouTube. And the cool thing about this training is I shared real numbers. I shared the real figures that we make and that I know others are making, so that you aren't going to one of those online things about make millions of dollars doing this or that. So I shared actual revenue set against the real numbers and the real metrics that we've experienced in my 5 years now of making my living off of publishing on YouTube. So you can have reasonable expectations if you decide that you want to go in, and also to open your eyes to different opportunities to make money on YouTube. What are the mechanisms, and what are the mechanisms, and what are the metrics? How much do you earn? So we did this webinar, delivered it twice live a week ago, and then I took that content and I entrenched it in a mini course, which is what I mean, Michael, by evergreen. So everybody can still take it. You get access to the replay of all of the video that we did on it, as well as you get access to the to some additional notes and some additional videos that I created. So all of the content is there, and you can, and it's in. We put it into Thinkific, which is our LMS, or our learning management system. And so you go in there and you've got access to the webinar. You can ask questions. We respond to the questions. It's obviously not in real time. It's asynchronous now, but all of the content is evergreen. It's there for you to return to and go to whenever you want. And there's the landing page. I just dropped that in so you could take a look if you want, if you're interested in taking it. I think it's as good or better as a mini course as it was as a live webinar. You've also got all of the Q&A from both the webinars that you can watch, and the Q&A was really good from both of them, the questions that we were asked. We had about 150 people take it live, and then we've had a whole bunch more sign up since it's gone evergreen. So that's what I mean, Michael, by evergreen. All right. Now, if I miss your comments in here, there's a lot of you in the room today. If I miss your comments, my apologies. A way to make sure we always do see the comments is you can always use that super chat. Tip me. This is awesome. Okay, Stephen, thanks. I'll register for the other one, belt and braces. I'm not too sure what that meant. Okay, we'll keep going. Trudy, I have some concerns about Alexa and Google sending unauthorized information. Yeah, of course, there was that really bad moment a couple of weeks ago where Alexa accidentally sent a whole bunch of information what did they do? Did they send the contact list or something from somebody? But there was a glitch in the artificial intelligence, and it reached out. Oh no, it sent recordings of their conversations to a friend of theirs on their mail list, which was just we're going to have lots of glitches in this stuff as we move ahead. The concept of how this artificial intelligence is going to fold into our lives, and protecting our privacy set against the tools. We want the functionality or Google and Amazon believe that we want the functionality of being able to just talk to a device and have it respond and give us more and more access to things that we're looking for. But in order to do that, it has to be constantly listening, and it has to understand what we're saying. So what's the firewall between the privacy of only when I'm talking to you are you listening and not recording the rest of the time? That's where the trust factor goes. And it's not going to, I think that our concept of privacy is something that's got to change and evolve pretty dramatically it has already. I don't think we've come to terms with it. We haven't got comfortable with it. I know that it's here. One of the reasons that I use it is so that I can kind of figure it out myself where I lie on the appropriateness scale. You don't know until you use it. Until you get a feel for it, I think we're constantly going to be having stories that make us feel uncomfortable, and we're going to have to constantly be challenging the people who create these tools to meet our standards, to meet what we expect. The only way we do that is by engaging. But it's going to be an interesting journey for the next little while. That's for darned sure. Thanks for that, Trudy. Good comment. Oh, Trudy, thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate that. Just to say thank you for all you do. I encourage everyone here. Thank you, Trudy. Oh, we'll have matching dollars. That's a great idea. Oh, Peter Paul Chatto, who, by the way, anybody out here who's a baby boomer or wants some great YouTube channel to follow, I follow Peter Paul. I don't know why you call Peter Paul. I've always known him as Paul Chatter. Paul is a legendary Canadian comedian who has a really great YouTube channel. It's definitely baby boomer and Canadian centric as far as the humor go, but Canada is practically the funniest nation on earth, so we have that going for us. But I encourage you to check out Paul's channel. He does great stuff, and people especially that are in the Hackintosh community, he does technical as well as lifestyle content. Do I use vidIQ? Yes, I do. I've been using vidIQ for a while, and I really do like it. vidIQ is a competitor to, I guess their biggest competitor is TubeBuddy. And where TubeBuddy's got an edge still is TubeBuddy's got a nice mobile app that vidIQ is bringing out very soon, their version, but I like that. And what it does for YouTube content creators is it gives us some suggestions on tags, but it also helps us kind of entrench our formal process and doing research and preparing for what videos are going to do well and making sure that they're properly SEO'd to rank well on YouTube and to perform very well on YouTube. So those are all things that vidIQ and TubeBuddy do. And it also really streamlines the process of doing research on how your videos have done. So you get really good reports on how your competitors' videos, or I don't really look at them as competitors, I look at them as colleagues, people who have similar channels to mine, similar videos, which videos are performing well for them, which gives me a lens to understand a little bit better how the videos that I can produce are going to perform a little bit better, because of course we all want to serve our communities better. And also how our videos are ranking, in seeing which keywords are ranking for us and kind of the authority that we're building within YouTube so that we can leverage that and build others. I do like that an awful lot. I just see here that I'm having trouble keeping up in the chat, but I see a whole whack of you that are patrons, and if I miss any, I am so sorry, but hello, Katie. A big hello to you. Thank you so much. Dave, thank you very much. Jackie, thank you very much. And, of course, Woody, Patreon patron. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your support hugely as well, of course. Trudy. All right. Jaguar Croft says, Alexa support tried to hack my computer. They outsource support in the Middle East. That's the first I've heard of that. I'd like to know if that sounds like something that has to be researched, but I will take you at face value, saying that's terrifying. And if I experience something similar, you can bet I will share that as well. All right. Digital Life. Steve, have you ever done a voiceover by recording device other than a laptop, say an independent recorder like a Zoom? If yes, can you redirect me to the corresponding tutorial? No, I've never done a tutorial on using it. I used to use a Zoom, an H4n mobile recorder as an audio interface for my computer, but I never recorded the digital file separately and then married it together. A lot of people have to do that because of the type of vlogging camera they choose might not have a microphone input, so they might have to use a digital recorder separately and then sync the files together. It's not that hard to do, the process. And even though I don't have a tutorial on it, you should be able to find one pretty easily on YouTube. The beauty is, I mean, since we have a graphical output of the audio lines, is you just look for the peaks, match up the peaks, and then you sync it's pretty easy to sync lips if that's the issue that you're dealing with. I don't think it's a step, but it's not a real barrier for using a field audio recorder, and they do a great job depending on the mic that you have attached. But I don't have one. I'm sure somebody does. What kind of music do I listen to? I listen to, who do we listen to? We listen to a lot of jazz. I listen to Oscar Peterson, and I love Billy Joel. I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm pretty eclectic when it comes to my music mix. But so that's the beauty of having Google Home or Alexa, is you just say, play some Oscar Peterson, and you get a great Oscar Peterson playlist going. And that's, it's really nice. I enjoy that hugely. I can't believe I used that term. Can I take that back? I enjoy that a lot. All right. Landon, how do you like the new Gmail so far? I'm loving the new Gmail. I think, the biggest issue that I have with Gmail is sorting. And so the new Gmail, we've done a few videos on the new Gmail, and I don't know how you folks feel about it. Some people are still clinging to the old interface. But the biggest issue that I have with Gmail is that we can't sort just with a click at the top of a column and have it all sort either alphabetically or by sender or by subject and have it sort in that way. And until Gmail gets that, it's still going to be like, we need another feature. But all of the other aspects of Gmail I quite appreciate. I like the new layout. I like the new navigation, the fact that we can quickly, using the little quick action buttons inside of each email, we can quickly do email triage by sorting through our email and filing things and deleting them just within the browser window there. So I'm liking all of those aspects of it. I'm finding the sorting is okay. But yeah, until they get proper columns, and being able to sort on columns, it's going to be like, it's still not there. Still not there. That's it. What do you think? Are you loving it? All right. Trudy, thanks for my thoughts. I appreciate that. Good. Have you reviewed any CRMs? Stuart Siegel on Office 365 training. Yes, we have. I've got a really nice post that I did, why I chose Infusionsoft. And here's the challenge with a channel like ours, doing a lot on CRMs or covering. I try and always speak from experience of actually having used the tool. And I think the value that we give is applying technology in real life, applying these tools in your real life. And the issue with reviewing CRMs is, in order to really know how well they work, you've got to use them. You've got to integrate them in your life. That's why, over the next month, we're taking Demio, a webinar tool, and we're using it. Because until you actually have it in the line of fire and have people yelling at you because something isn't working, or try and work through a process to make sure that everybody's on board at the same time, you don't really know how a tool is going to work. And a CRM takes your webinar tool, and it goes like, it's 10x as far as challenge and challenges and potential disasters and potential opportunity. It took me to install and enroll in Infusionsoft to get it working for me, to get it to the point where I was, it was actually part of my business process, and my whole life wasn't involved with just configuring Infusionsoft till it was actually working for my business instead of me working to configure it. It took me about a month to set it up, to do all of the things, to learn the things, to figure out, to make mistakes, to contact tech support, to modify my business processes until it was actually something that I used day by day and wasn't thinking about how I was going to use. I can't do that for all of the tools for CRMs to give you a really good picture of how the different CRMs work, because I would never be doing any business. So a big part of my advice and in what I talk about in why I chose Infusionsoft is I don't believe Infusionsoft is the best CRM, not by a country mile. I don't know what the best CRM is. I looked at all of the features of all of the different CRMs, talked to as many people, did as much research as I could up to a certain point, and then I just took a plunge and I bought Infusionsoft. But this is what I say to people, and I think this is the real truth and the real important part of that message, is once you choose a tool, and if you choose a major tool, not if you go off the board and choose something that's brand new and startup and beta or something like that, but if you choose a mainstream tool that's obviously supported and obviously successful, Infusionsoft, Entreport, any of the main tools like that, ActiveCampaign, any of those tools. Once you've chosen one, if it's got the features that you're looking for, as soon as you click buy, sign the contract, start, it now becomes your responsibility to make it the right choice, because you can make it the right choice by how you embrace the tool. All these tools will do almost all the same things. It's up to you. If you dive in with energy and a positive attitude and roll up your sleeves and really get to know how the tool works, you can make the decision you make the right one by making it the right decision, by making it work for you, by bending it to your will. If you are always looking and saying, oh, I wish it did this, I wish it did the other thing, and you aren't willing to work around and figure out how to make it work, then it's always going to be the wrong decision. And I know lots of people who have switched. In the 4 years that I've been using Infusionsoft, I've got friends who are on their 4th CRM. And that is just a disaster because it's so integral to your business process. If they just stayed with the one they started with, figured things out, they would be so much farther ahead business-wise. And yes, they might not have some features that the newest one does, but it wouldn't matter because you found out ways to do those things using the tool. So I haven't done a lot of reviews on CRMs, but I've covered off that narrative on Infusionsoft. And as you do your research, just recognize that most people who are reviewing these tools are doing so to make money, not necessarily to educate you. So it's all about the affiliate relationship and getting the purchase and the partner programs. It's rife through the CRM world, and I respect it. And I play in that pool and with other products, but I'm really reticent to say this is the best one, that's the best one, because Infusionsoft is working for me, and I'm happy with it. I still look at others and try and keep up on with what they're doing and think that's cool, and I still occasionally there's a chance that at some point I will move, but it's a very serious relationship decision to move. I hesitate to compare it to life partnership and marriage, but it's pretty much, it's up there. It's not there, but it's close. All right, I missed a whole whack of comments while I covered that, but I love that topic. When you stop and think about taking responsibility to make your decision the right one, it changes your attitude towards it. And it moves the responsibility off of the manufacturer and it puts it on you, which is where it should be, because you're the one that cares at the end of the day. So, yeah. Okay, so let us continue on. And Paul says I'm too kind. I am. Good. Star just subscribed to Paul's channel. Good for you. You should do that. Everybody should do that. Okay. Maria says, Steve here from CA. Do you still use Osmo 2 and do you like it? I haven't been doing... I got an Osmo 2. The Osmo 2 is a gimbal that you can use for your iPhone that allows you to do stabilized video for doing vlogging and that sort of stuff. And our vlog has evolved a little bit. Now, when I started doing my personal vlog, which you'll see tomorrow, I thought I was going to do a lot more shooting out in the field and that sort of stuff. But I've done a little less of that, and I've kind of been more static with the setup and concentrate a lot more on the storytelling of it than the cinematic quality of my videos. I'm not a filmmaker, so I do like it. I'm playing with it. I show it to everybody that comes over to the house because it's so cool. But I'm not using it a lot. But I think if you are out there shooting, it's a great tool, and I'm still a big fan of it. I haven't been shooting that style. I've got a couple of trips coming up that I'm going to be vlogging on the road a little bit more. We'll see if I decide to pack it with me and take it with me. I don't know if I'm going to want the extra weight, but it's a cool tool. It's definitely a cool tool. All right. Guido, I miss Blab. Don't you? Blab was a great tool, and it was a great... It makes me sad because they dropped the ball so big time. For those of you that don't know, Blab was a social broadcast platform that allowed you to create shows that people could subscribe to, come in. You had 4 quadrants that you could have 4 people live with you. Streaming was great. Engagement and conversations were great. It was a wonderful live format that was better than anything that we're doing. I think it was better than YouTube Live. It was better than Facebook Live. It was better than Instagram Live. Better than IGTV for doing a live show, which was the closest thing to doing live radio with video that I had done. And I did live radio for years and years, and I loved what Blab was. But it got very political, and the folks at Blab they were looking for the home run, I think, and to be a social network as opposed to a broadcast platform, and they messed it up somehow. They just managed to mess it up by not staying in control of keeping the content, gating the content so it would be family friendly, or so that it didn't offend people, and it kind of became they lost their vision, and it cratered in, and it's sad because there's still nothing that's as good. It's too bad. Can you imagine if it had been well run, where we'd be today? I wouldn't be doing this show on YouTube Live. I'd be doing a regular show on Blab. It was a great feeder mechanism to feed into all of your other channels. Oh, miss it big time. Okay, your opinion on Ulefone 5. I have no opinion. I don't even actually know what it is, so I'm sorry. Lancy Air, the Zoom Q8 is fantastic field recorder that also shoots 1080p. Great for voiceover interviews, live music recording. Yes, I've looked at that tool. It looks like a really amazing tool. It's a field video recorder that'll also shoot 1080p video. It looks really cool. It does. I agree with you. There we go. Hey, Trudy, have been a monthly patron for years. Thank you so much, Paul. Yes, you have indeed. Okay, David, I've been getting harassed with some ransomware emails. I think it's a result of an old data breach. I know it's a hoax. Thanks to you, I've been migrating to LastPass. Thanks for the info. Yeah, we all get those occasional hoaxes where people are telling us that they've got video of us doing something inappropriate or something like that, or they have, I mean, some of these ransomware attacks are absolutely real, but a lot of them aren't. And there is no 1,000%, no, there's no 100% secure solution, but I do believe using a password manager like LastPass, 1Password, something along that line, is a great way to help protect your personal privacy and your personal security. The other thing is using two-factor authentication. A lot of people aren't using that, but using two-step or two-factor authentication, we've got videos on it on the channel. It really doesn't get in the way of your life very much, but I was reminded today I had to log into my Stripe account. Every time I log into Stripe, it sends me two-factor authentication. And I was thinking as I logged into it this morning that it took me an extra 5 seconds to log in. But as I was logging in, I'm going, I know this account is secure. I feel good about that. It's worth the effort. Absolutely worth the effort. Okay, Michael King, I'm thinking of buying the RCA Pro 10.1 tablet and use Wi-Fi a lot. Can I get a virus? I imagine, well, if it's Windows, you can certainly get a virus. Well, everything can get a virus. And I'm not too sure what the state of virus protection is in the Windows world. I'm not an expert on that. I would look to others for advice as far as protecting my Windows platform. I primarily am on a Mac, although I'm seriously considering not being on a Mac in the not too distant future. I'm beta testing a new video. The reason I'm on a Mac primarily comes down to one thing. Screencast recordings that we do our videos on, I use a tool called ScreenFlow, and I love that tool. I've used it forever, and it's really hard. I like Camtasia, but ScreenFlow is like second nature. It's just the tool that I've always used. That's the tool that keeps me on the Mac. And I use Final Cut Pro for video editing, more elaborate videos, but it doesn't keep me on the Mac because I know Adobe's Premiere Pro is just as good. Adobe's Premiere Pro might be getting better because Adobe is releasing a new family of products. They're releasing something called Adobe Rush. They've announced it, and I'm on the beta program. And it is a tool where you can shoot video on your smartphone, on any device, import the video. If you've shot it on your smartphone, you can do all of your rough cut right there, or your finished video editing on the phone, on the tablet. But if you're on your computer, you save the file on your phone, it saves it to Adobe's Creative Cloud, and you open the file on Rush on your computer. And you've got all of the editing on your computer, Windows or Mac. Android or iOS on the phone. And if there's not enough there, if you don't have enough capability in the Adobe Rush app, which has got some pretty good editing capability built in, like almost everything you need. If you need to do high-end color correction, if you need to do anything else, if you need to import 3D files, the entire file opens in any of the Creative Cloud tools. So you can go up to Premiere Pro and you can take the same file that you shot and you did a rough cut on your smartphone, then you edited it on your computer and you said, no, we got to do better. You can open it in Premiere Pro and finish it off. How freaking cool is that? And it is being released to the public end of summer. Where was I? Oh, somebody was asking about Windows, and I just went off on a tangent. Sorry. That was complete Steve tangent. Tangent to the 10th degree. All right. Paul says, I've tried 10 content management systems. Hate them all. Using Insightly. Steve is 100% correct, wise man. I am indeed a wise man. Batch Productions, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate the super chat. I love the super chat. I haven't figured out a way on this AMA. I watch other guys who do their who do their things, and they do like reviews of your YouTube channel and all that stuff in order to generate revenues on the AMA. Those are great ideas. I don't think I'm going to be doing that with this particular live stream family, but I do appreciate the support you guys show us. We appreciate that big time, big time. Okay. So Caleb says, I've made the decision to use Amazon Drive. I pay for Amazon Prime, but I'm wondering what Office apps I should use with it. Do you have any suggestions? No, I don't use Amazon Drive, even though I have the Amazon Prime subscription myself. I don't know what apps I would choose, and I imagine it doesn't work and play well with Google Drive. I mean, I use mainly the Google apps, to be honest, for a variety of reasons, mainly because we do so many of our videos on it that it's just easiest for me to continue to use it. So I don't have a suggestion of which ones would be the best to work with there. I wish I did, but I don't. All right, Jim Samuel. I have a big problem with Infusionsoft. It seems every time I try and unsubscribe from an email list built on Infusionsoft, it never unsubscribes me. That is fascinating, Jim. That is, I can tell you in my experience using Infusionsoft, I haven't had that issue because that would put me at risk. If you unsubscribed from my channel and you weren't properly unsubscribed, you can then legitimately offer a complaint and make a complaint about spam. So, are you subscribed to our channel? Drop me an email. Drop an email to info@dottotech.com telling us that you've had that problem. The info@dottotech.com email is read by April, who is my Infusionsoft. She does my systems. So April works very closely with Infusionsoft, and she has multiple clients other than me. I would love to hear what she has to say about that. And we'll look into that for you, because that's not the way it should be. So we will have a look at that. All right. Oh, good heavens. Thank you very, very much, Jerry. Oh, so generous. I thank you. No question? If you have a question, drop it in. Yeah, Bill saying Blab ran out of money. Blab did more than run out of money, though. Blab ran things poorly. I don't remember all of the details, but I was watching them very closely at the end, and they shouldn't have run out of money. They should have been able to. It's one technology. It's a service that should have survived. They should have been okay. All right. All righty then. Bax is asking me, thank you very much for the super chat. Steve, fan for over a decade. Awesome sauce. Ever try Plex? I have used Plex. And I've got some friends that use Plex, and they love Plex. So for people that don't know, Plex is a media server that you can install, and it will then take your music and any of your video files, and it will serve them to your different devices. And if you've got it set up and configured right, it can even serve you your content, your music, your videos to you when you're not in your home network. You can actually gate in and you can actually stream stuff to yourself in a variety of different locations and stuff. I haven't used it to the point that I can do a demo on it because I always jump around, and there's just, it's one of those tools that you kind of commit to and you build your entire system around. And since I'm always testing out different tools, I've never committed to it. But I do think it's a wonderful tool. And I know my good buddy David Hathaway, who manages all our website. He didn't design my website, he manages my online stuff. He's a huge Plex user and a big, big fan of it. So thank you for that super chat. Appreciate it. Steve, do I have an alternative to lead pages? Question from Jackie in color. Lead Pages is a really interesting service. And here's what's happening with all of these online services that help us with our online marketing, is in order to keep their customer base and in order to justify the monthly fees that they're charging, they're all expanding out of their origin story into other areas. They're all, like Lead Pages is becoming very CRM with a lot of its features. Lead Pages was originally designed to capture leads, to capture people, and to do landing pages to help you sell products, courses, to help you get people to sign up for webinars and to sign up for online tutorials and this sort of stuff. And it was a great tool for that because they really explored the science of the landing page, of how people react to the content, and they gave you templates that you didn't have to design yourself that gave you a really good starting point to laying out your landing page. And I used for the longest time, I forgot the name now. It's from Britain. I lost the name anyways. What is it? I'm having a total brain fart. It'll come to me. It'll probably come to me as soon as we're done. But I used I used the WordPress plugin, the WordPress site that I used had the ability for me to create landing pages myself that I paid like $100 a year for, and so I use that for all of my landing pages. Now, Lead Pages has since grown and it's got some additional features, but so have the different WordPress plugins. Now, the WordPress plugin that we're using right now is, I will give you it as an option because I have to tell you, this is something that that personally I am thrilled with. I think it has turned into just a terrific tool. Let me just log in to make sure I get the right name for it, because I don't use it myself every day anymore, because Liz Asian, who designed our new website, she's the one that got us using it, and Elementor is the name, Elementor, Elementor. So it does all of our landing pages, and we actually manage our whole website using it. So those are the sorts of things that you can look at as an alternative to Lead Pages. I think it's a terrific tool, Elementor, but you can have a look and decide. All of these systems, these tools are getting really expensive in my mind. Like Lead Pages, what they're giving, and I guess ClickFunnels is another one that's growing into that space, trying to be all things, where they actually want you to kind of host your entire business at their site. I'd rather still use WordPress and have all my stuff there hosted in WordPress and then add functionality from that. I hope I explained myself well. I realized I was kind of all over the map. What was the name of the tool? Because I used it for the longest time and I quite liked it. Oh, okay, it's going to come back to me. Oh, well. Mealtime. Jaeger Croft, I would suggest that you are the victim of an effort to hack your computer for malicious purposes. Okay, yes. In my work, I have to fix the after effects of this type of criminal activity. Thank you for that comment. Recommendation from David. Recommendation for good Mac software to replace Microsoft Publisher. So you're talking about print publishing. I don't know. Let's see if anybody else there has a suggestion. I never print anything off anymore. What would I lay out? Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I hope somebody can offer a suggestion. Okay. Natalie, I just got here. Is there any way? Is there a way to do it yourself a CRM in the beginning when you are just starting out? I think using some of the tools like Insightly or some of the more general purpose CRMs that aren't specific to online marketing might be a way that you can start things out kind of easily. And there's a variety of them. I'm sure people will recommend some simple ones that they use. That's the way I would start. I would start at ones that have a free program to get you started and then allow you to kind of get your way in rather than jumping in the deep end of the pool. Or you start with a mail list manager. You start with MailChimp is a great place to start because you can use MailChimp for free for quite a while. And that's a great way to start collecting your email list before you're ready to step forward. And that's, I think, a well-proven path is using MailChimp and then growing beyond it over time. All right. Jaeger, I posted that screen record. Okay, that we're still talking about the Amazon social media, and they told me to call and report it. I did that. Did not hear back. No surprise. They did nothing. Okay. Jim, why do so many podcasters seem to record sitting down when pro voiceover talent nearly always records standing up? That's a really good question. It used to be, and I've got a sit-stand desk, so I can actually do some of my stuff standing. I find I jiggle around too much. But your energy level is higher. When I used to do my TV show, we used to split back and forth between me sitting and standing all the time. And if I was ever feeling flat, if I was ever a little low on energy, the director would always have me stand. They would redo the segment, reset things up, and I would be standing, and my energy was always better. Your diaphragm is better supported when you're standing. There's so much more that you're in such a better position to do a better voiceover job. And your energy is better when you're standing too, frankly. But it's more comfortable sitting down. So I don't know why they do it, but they certainly do. Forrest, what's the best way to manage your cloud storage? Example, Gmail. With things like, I don't do any. Does anybody really manage their cloud storage in Gmail, or do you just keep saving and throwing things into it and not worrying about it because search is so good? I don't particularly do too much management on that. I mean, I delete any email that's useless. Everything else I just archive because storage is so cheap. And that might be a little bit wasteful, but that's the way I do it. I don't have any advice on other management tips as far as that goes. Okay, Jaeger is asking, what do you think of DAM, digital asset management? Do you think it's relatively moving forward into the cloud? I'm not too sure exactly what you mean by it, but if you're talking about the protection of people's content rights, that's something that's always top of mind for YouTube, protecting its content creators. And I think that's just going to continue. That's something that artificial intelligence does a really good job of parsing out and finding abuses, and it's just going to continue to be more and more relevant. But I don't have any profound thoughts on it. Ralph, I've had good results with NPass Password Manager, very handy. Good to hear. Bob in Phoenix. What kind of microphone do you use? Your tonal quality is excellent. Thank you for all you do. Okay, I'm going to drop a link in here which has my toolbox, which has all of my tools that I use. But I'll quickly describe to you my microphone setup. So this is it here. It's a Electro Voice RE20. So this is a broadcast studio microphone that's typically used in radio studios and voiceover studios. It's a real broadcaster's mic. It's got fairly low gain. It's a microphone that I never sit quite as close to as I should. In the radio studio, when I wasn't worried about the focus of the camera and the autofocus, I would always present it with it right here, at this angle here, just put right there, straight into it at this kind of level. Quite often with a pop filter in front because it's that intimate. For our purposes, I typically have it a little bit lower and kind of more positioned in the shot. I said it has low gain. That means that it's a little bit quiet on the and this is an XLR mic. It's an analog mic, meaning we need to convert the analog signal that this creates into a digital signal to put it into our computer and to broadcast it out to you now. So it goes into a mixer here, which is the same as a digital an audio interface, which takes the analog signal from the XLR, plugs in here, and it converts it over into digital, and then USB comes out and it delivers it to my computer, which then is a source for me. Now, it's got a few extra features. The reason I like to use a mixer is it's got a feature called gating, which allows me to, when I'm doing a live broadcast with somebody else, it allows me to have their microphone open. I don't have to wear headphones, and it doesn't create feedback from them talking. You don't hear the echo of them talking. So it's got some features like that, and as far as also tuning the audio quality. But just going straight into this mixer, this microphone is a little too quiet, and I have to really have everything pinned maximum in order to use it. So I found a tool, and it's under my desk here. You can't see it, but it's called the Cloud Lifter. It's about $190 or $200, maybe $250. I can't remember. But what it does is it adds, I think, 10 decibels of clean gain to the microphone. It's just a little brick that sits in line. Microphone plugs into it. Microphone cable comes out of it and plugs into the mixer, and it adds enough extra gain to make this microphone really work well. So it's the RE20. If I was buying a brand new microphone today for this system, would I buy an RE20? I'm not sure. I don't think I would. It's things like the Heil PR40 is kind of the podcaster's mic and the mic that everybody else loves. I love this mic because I use this mic for 15 years on radio. And it's my voice, it's my mic. But that's my setup. And any good XLR mic, tied in, building your system it's kind of like customizing a car. It's something that all people love to do. But that's my mic setup, and it's all available. You can download that toolkit, and that doesn't just talk about my broadcast tools that we use here, but it also talks about the software tools that I use. So that's a great resource. So let's go. Did I thank Jerry? Thank you very much, Jerry. Oh, appreciate it. Huge. That is awesome. It's great. How are we doing? We're getting close to the top of the hour. I'm gonna scroll through and make sure that I'm not missing any other super chat questions. Good. All right. I'll pick out a few other questions here. Am I familiar with the best thermostat, Katie says? Is it worth it? I haven't used any of I think you're talking about the Nest thermostat. I haven't used it yet. But now that I've got my first automation kind of potential as I'm setting up the Philips Hue lights, I probably will fiddle around with it. My house here has all electric heat in the new house. So I think it would work fine to have it set up. I haven't used it. I think they're great ideas. All of these systems that are designed to keep you warm and use less energy and keep you warm, providing services where you need them and when you need them are a great idea. Might be a little bit overkill, but I do love the home automation concept. Star Lucas says, Gmail. I like looking up under one sender and I would like to put them down in a folder and move it. It does not give you that option. Do you think they will have it someday? I have it in Yahoo and in GoDaddy Mail. Yeah, that was what we were talking about off the top if you were here. The biggest shortcoming in Gmail is how it sorts the email. You can only work by search. And yeah, I sure hope they have it. If they're listening to what people are saying, there's like in each app, in each of the Google apps, there's one feature. In Gmail, sorting. In Google Photos, which I love, what's missing? Duplicates. Finding duplicate photos. If you go on any message board, as soon as you use the tool, you go, this is a huge thing that it's missing. In Gmail, this is the huge thing that it's missing. Okay. Bill, which camera are you using? And if you're using the Logitech C920, do you use any apps to control the camera's focus setting and zoom features? No, I do not use the C920, although I did for many years, and I think I would still be fine. I have the Logitech Brio, their upgraded 4K video camera, and it is much better than the C920. It's got a cleaner image, but mostly it has way better drivers for the Mac. And so I used to use a tool called Webcam Settings. That's in the toolkit that I posted as well, to white balance my camera because the color, you need white balance in order to get realistic skin tones, etc. And you didn't have that before on the Mac. So with the C920. But with the Brio, the skin tones, the white balance is really good, the automatic white balance. So it's a far better. All of the drivers in it are far better. I like this Brio. I think they've done a great job with this camera. It costs a little bit more, but it's well worth it. Okay, I've been using Thrive themes, Marcel, and I found them to be pretty good. I think Thrive is excellent. When we were redesigning the website, I was all ready to go to Thrive, and as I looked at the specs of it, I thought that is a kick-ass product. And I took it to Liz, who was doing our design, and she said, "Oh yeah, I love this." She says, "But I really like Elementor because I use it in other sources. So it's your choice, Steve. We can go with Thrive, and we'll design the website in Thrive, or we can use Elementor, which I know better is a lower learning curve for me, and I know I can do everything we want." I trusted her opinion at that point, and I'm happy because Elementor is a great, great tool. But I think Thrive is also a great, great tool, and I'm not surprised you're recommending it. And it's certainly one that I would look at if I was starting from scratch and I had to learn everything myself. It's so Thrive themes. Optimize Press, that's the one that I used as a lead pages comparison. So there's three for you to look at. Optimize Press, which is kind of the low end as a lead pages alternative, less money. Thrive, which costs less money than lead pages, which you can do everything with and host your own site, and the one that ours, which is I lost the name. I had it here just a second ago. Oh, you can tell I've been here too long. Let me look it up again. Come on, Steve, you can do better. You're better than this, Dotto. You are better than this. Elementor. There we go. Okay, Elementor. It's because I don't use it every day myself anymore. Oh, good point. Paul says he used Pages and as an InDesign substitute, and he uses it for page layout. So for print layout, take a look at Pages. The question about publishing. And Bill has also mentioned that. Great point. I should have thought of that. Thank you. Thank goodness for community. All right. Lucid Press is a good web-based app that's like Publisher as well. African Leopards has pointed out. Good stuff. All right. Jagger says, I bought the Logitech C930, and we are going to start a YouTube channel from Steve's webinar. Excellent. Looking forward to seeing it. Let us know as you do it. Thank you, Marcel, for Elementor. All right, guys, we're at the hour. I like to keep these things to an hour. To all of you who so generously added super chats, I thank you very, very much. Did I answer all? Yeah, I think I answered all of the questions. To everybody else, if you haven't, let me just drop this link in again. If you do have time, and if you know anybody who could stand understanding a little bit better what's happening in the world of fake news. I'm not going to be beating people up in this webinar on Webinar Wednesday where we talk about fake news. I'm going to be talking about the nature of search and how we are always going to be delivered not necessarily what the truth is, but what we're looking for, and how everything has a bias today, and how to spot fake news. And I'm going to open a conversation of what we can do about it. Because I think that just curling up in fetal position and bemoaning it is not the answer. And I don't think disengaging from social networks because somebody is posting fake news or there's fake news in these social networks is the answer. I think we have to start standing up to fake news, and we have to find a mechanism where we can let and we can educate our community, our peers, our family, our friends, our colleagues, where we can start educating them on how we are the problem with fake news by how we spread it, and how to start identifying it, and to start moving momentum in a different direction so that it becomes harder for us to be duped. I think a lot of the hatred, a lot of the stuff that's happening in the world, a lot of the lack of civility and loss of civility is coming because we're constantly bombarded by these negative aspect stories that people are knee-jerk reacting, twitching, sharing, all of these memes that do nothing positive to help us. So, and the fake news people are just feeding on us. They're using us as a conduit to spread their malice. I think we can be better than that. I think we can do better than that. So this webinar this week, it's going to be something a little bit out of our normal sweet spot, but I think it's well worth being there. So I encourage you to join me in it, and I encourage you to invite others to this week's webinar. With that, I am looking forward to that. Next week, we'll be back on. We'll probably do this Saturday. I like doing these Saturday ones. This was fun, wasn't it? This was great. I thoroughly enjoyed you guys' comments. Thank you so much for engaging so much in the community. That's magic for me. Till next time, have fun storming a castle.